President Trump replacing his pick to serve as Surgeon General just one day before her confirmation hearing. That pick now pulled, but he's already got a replacement lined up. I want to bring in Vaughn Hilliard, who's joining us now. And Vaughn, this individual has dabbled in what critics would call and have called something like pseudoscience here. Why is she so controversial?
Right. Casey Means is actually the sibling of Callie Means, who is already working at HHS as an advisor to Robert F. Kennedy Jr., the HHS secretary. Both of the Means, they have a wide following. They are both critics of what they say to be big food and big pharma industries, and also universities and the medical school system. They have big influence followings, and they are big advocates for preventative care, making the case that medical schools are teaching people how to care for chronic diseases after the fact instead of addressing metabolic health on the front end. There is a vaccine skepticism, would be a generous terminology to describe the would-be Surgeon General if she were to be confirmed, her position, Casey Means' position on vaccines. But both of these individuals, Casey Means, if she were to be confirmed as Surgeon General, and her sibling or brother, Callie Means, are working as advisor to Robert F. Kennedy Jr., really round out a medical team, if you will, inside of the executive branch that are very much individuals who are skeptical of the pharmaceutical industry and have a deeply skeptical questioning concerns about the impact that it's had on governmental decisions in the past. So, as you noted, there is a great many skeptics and critics of the science that is pushed and advocated by Casey Means, and a defensive of the pharmaceutical industry and medical schools in the science that has been long presented over decades to deal with chronic diseases. But this is really the president, by nominating her to be the Surgeon General and replacing her with the individual who we should note was the sister-in-law of Mike Waltz, the former national security advisor, is really a turn and a vote of confidence in the way that Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is at this point running HHS.
Vaughn, why is Laura Loomer's name, the right-wing activist, why has her name come up in all of this?
Right. Laura Loomer is somebody here who has been skeptical of you, if you will, of cabinet officials that have been entering this administration, and one who has been skeptical of really anybody that has been entering the Trump orbit here. And this is another case of that here. And so when you're looking at Laura Loomer and the pushback that she gave to the Surgeon General pick, who is supposed to go before her confirmation proceeding tomorrow, she has been highly critical of Michael Waltz and suggesting that the president has not had appropriate allies in some of these key positions. And now, of course, the president here, just 3 months after making this initial Surgeon General pick, is already changing his mind before the confirmation process even began.
Vaughn Hilliard, thank you very much for bringing us that developing news breaking late tonight. Appreciate that.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app.
Why I like the new party? Number one, it's a group of people that's on a panel. We all have differences, but we all basically still come together at the end of the day. The new party for me is about unity. The new party for me is about educating people to the truth, letting people know what's been going on in our country. With that being said, shout out to the new party, man. We're going to keep it going with y'all.
Welcome to the new party. I'm Nora Christine.
I'm Gray Mars.
I'm Skeptic.
I'm Enzo.
You're muted, Mia.
I'm Mia.
And tonight we are going to talk about the Maha Civil War. So we had to pivot again. Just pivot. So right now, as you guys know, or may not know, the initial pick for Surgeon General is now out, and we are pivoting to Casey Means. And who is she? We're going to talk about that tonight. But there is a civil war brewing within Maha. We can start by going around and giving our opinions about the new pick, and then I'll show you the evidence about the civil war that's going on. Gray, what's your thoughts on the new pick?
Well, I just now found out about it. The only thing I saw was is Janine Pirro was one of Donald Trump's choices, who was a Fox News consultant, who was a judge. So I really don't know anything about the person you're talking about, honestly.
Okay, so to clarify what Gray is referring to, she is an interim pick to be a prosecutor in for DC. She's not going to be the permanent person, but she's interim who's stepping in right now. But it looks like Casey Means is the actual pick for a Surgeon General. Skeptic, I know the left. Well, you're in the middle, but I know a lot of people left to middle don't like Robert F. Kennedy to begin with, and it seems like he's now influenced this pick. What's your thoughts on this pick?
I'm just gonna take a wild guess like Gary. Don't really know deep information on her, so I'm not gonna fake like I do. I don't. But looking at the candidates that the Trump administration has picked, pretty sure I can guess a few things as far as where loyalty lies and what they were saying about pseudoscience. That goes hand in hand with a lot of the things that R. Kennedy stands for, which I feel like are very unsafe for all of us Americans. So yeah, I mean, I can already tell you, probably not going to be the best pick, but I don't really know too much. That's just my bias speaking.
Well, just to give a little facts, she is a doctor that didn't complete her residency, and she's never been a surgeon, which is generally what it is. I don't even think she's actually really worked as a doctor. So that's to give you some background. Mia, what's your thoughts on the pick regarding her?
I mean, it's not a good sign that she didn't make it through her surgical residency. However, that's one of the most grueling programs out there for doctors. So it doesn't surprise me. I'm sure a lot of people drop out of residency. I mean, it doesn't negate the fact that she did graduate from Stanford Medical School. So, I mean, at least she has that, which is more than a lot of the other picks can say. I mean, at least she graduated medical school. I mean, I guess we're going to have to wait and see. She does more of a holistic approach to medicine, and I feel like that's me being generous, calling it holistic. Some people call it pseudoscience, but I feel like calling it holistic medicine would be nice. So, I mean, I don't know how that's going to translate to the Surgeon General. I mean, I'm all for keeping an open mind, but I mean, this administration has showed us one train wreck after another train wreck after another train wreck, after 2 signal chats, after 3 more train wrecks, after this person dropped out because they're taking the fall for a bunch of other people. So, I mean, I don't hold out much hope.
You're supposed to be on my side
come
over
on.
here.
Can you hold it? Enzo, you got the hat on. What's the positive about Casey Means? Can we say anything
Maya
positive?
came
I got
by
lots of negatives
change.
tonight.
I mean, I just did a little research on her. She has a medical degree from Stanford University of Science. She's not board certified at the moment. Began ENT residency at Oregon Health and Science University. Did not complete. She has a medical license in Oregon, which is inactive since 2019.
Please give the facts. Let the people know.
So, in summary, Dr.
right
Casey Means is a Stanford-trained MD who did not complete residency, is not board certified, does not hold an active medical license. She's known for her work in metabolic health, wellness, entrepreneurship, and public health advocacy, particularly with the MAHA movement.
Well,
I can't.
everybody
I got nothing to say.
we got people watching on TikTok, X. So if you want to let us know how you think, call in, let us know. I mean, we're struggling here. I want to know good things about her. I have some more clips, but in all fairness, Maha's not happy. I want to share my screen with you guys and show you what Nicole Stranahan, y'all know who she is, right? RFK's running mate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, we know who she is.
So somebody wrote her. Dr. Jack Krause tells us Mary Talon was on the podcast. She knows the deal with Means. Let's see how this all pans out. She seems groomed and selected. So Nicole hits back. Yes, it's very strange. Doesn't make any sense. I was promised that if I supported RFK Jr. in Senate confirmation, that neither of these siblings would be working under HHS or in an appointment, and that people much more qualified would be. I don't know if RFK very clearly lied to me or what is going on. It's been clear in recent conversations that he's reporting to someone, wink, wink, regularly, who is controlling his decisions, and it isn't President Trump. With regards to the siblings, there is something very artificial and aggressive about them, almost like they were bred and raised Manchurian assets. Enzo, my conspiracy theorist friend, who do you think is controlling RP? Because I made a video on this, and I, I don't know. I want to know your thoughts.
I don't know where to begin with him. Because he's not somebody that's a Democrat. Definitely not, because Democrats hate him. I don't know, maybe the fucking Illuminati at this point. Who knows with him?
I mean, what's crazy is like I don't understand though the so much hate coming from the left towards him, because like in essence, for the most part, he is still extremely left leaning from one of the most prominent Democratic families that country's ever had. For his ideologies really haven't changed. His core tenets are still Democrat-esque style.
I'll tell you why. It's because he tried to basically help Trump win the election.
No, they hate that. Don't even use that. Don't even use that. That's not fair.
That's what you're saying. Why they don't like him? Go ahead.
From what I know about him is the Democrats don't like him because he knows more into what happened between his uncle and his father, and he swears up and down the CIA and the Democrats had something to do with it.
Okay, Skip, the left wing. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, as far as ideology goes, I don't see where he leans left, because the left isn't anti-V. It seems that is a more right-leaning, ideology. Where during C-19, that's what you saw. It was like, questioning all the V's and all these things that he's moving forward with. So I don't know. I think that people tend to think that you're left-leaning, like back in, I want to say 10 years ago or maybe 5 years ago. No, more like 10. If you were more into natural, eating healthy, eating organic, it was seen as more liberal, because, and also like trying to drive a electric car was seen as you are a liberal because you care about the environment. But the way, even now, like the fact that has changed in the right, with conservatives, with RFK, even the way he's approaching it is not like left leaning, because that wasn't the approach that the left was taking when they were speaking on being more natural and caring about the environment. It's just kind of radical the way he comes at it. It's kind of crazy.
But I want to respond, and because I have the footage on the YouTube. Nora was begging for RFK to drop out so Trump could win. So I'll get that YouTube footage to y'all, because
that's not what I'm saying, though. They hated him before, and Skeptic is on to something. It goes back to his anti-V approach. But what's funny now is he's pushing the V's. Like, that's the crazy part. Now that he's in the role, they're rolling out another COVID V plan, and they're saying they're reformulating it, but they're still pushing V's on people. It's like he ran on something and he's not delivering what he promised. Once again, another performative thing, I'm sorry to say, by the Trump administration. There's all talk and no action.
Well, and I guess in his defense a little bit, those things, vaccines will be around forever, and people, you can't just eliminate them, of a drop of a hat. Like they're always going to be
Don't say
there.
that word, girl. Don't say that word. We're on TikTok. Use TikTok words.
They're always going to be around. So, he kind of has no choice but to, I guess, allow them and propagate them, because there's hundreds of millions of people that rely on them for anything. So, it kind of isn't like super fair. He can't just eliminate them overnight. In his defense.
Well, I will say in Texas, he hasn't. In Texas, he's not pushing the V's, because over here we have 200 cases now of the M. And we've had some people become unalive. So I don't know where he's pushing those V's, but it ain't in Texas. We're over here struggling. I'm scared now, because I have family and kids included that don't have any V's, and they were traveling in like Dallas area. That one of them is 5 and the other one just turned 2. And I am like, y'all better be careful, you know. And then they came back with a cough, and I was over here. My blood pressure was high. I was like, mm-mm.
Wow.
Well, I want to play this pic about her where she talks about dropping out of school and quitting her residency.
Thank you.
When I quit my surgical residency in my 5th and final year, after hundreds of thousands of dollars in my education, my parents threw me a party.
No way. No parent would do that.
No parent. And they never told me to quit.
Hundreds
but
of thousands of debt.
They were so proud of me.
Even though, so the incentive for parents is to tell people in your neighborhood, your friends, that you have a daughter who's a Stanford
They
educated
never pushed us to go to Stanford. You know, my parents were in their 40s when they had us. They lived lives. They were not living through us. They were spiritually grounded. They're not afraid of death. You know, they aren't driven by the materialism that just makes you rack up a wall full of, you know, awards. It was about
you're making me emotional.
Yeah.
Sound like wonderful
that is
people.
the reason. Doctors are in a trap. You know, it's $500,000 of education. You have this guaranteed salary, and all you have to do is drink the Kool-Aid. All you have to do is stay heads down and not ask questions, not ask why. That is so imperative for people to understand is that the reasons we're having surgery, the reasons why we're getting sick, the reasons why American competitiveness is plummeting, the reasons why our kids are chronically ill, half of the kids in America are chronically ill, are all from preventable issues. So if you're a doctor who's not spending any time on focusing on that, then unfortunately, for better or worse, you are bankrolling on the problem.
I honestly think you're going to change the world. I mean that. I mean that.
Thank you.
Oh Lord. So Skeptic, is she going to change the world? What's your thoughts?
I don't know. Let me tell you. I don't even know if I've told you guys this, but let me just tell you how much I am into natural things and like into the holistic world. I had my daughter with no medicine included, no epidural, no anything. I had her all natural. And my sister, who is now pregnant and will be giving birth soon, is also attempting to do the same thing. So when I tell you, I am big into health. Being that I came from a science degree, I think that there is factual evidence for things that can help you boost your metabolism and help you be healthier. However, I think that science has its place. And I had my daughter in a hospital. I chose not to go to a place that didn't have any doctors because I am strong enough, like mentally, to do my goal and get to where I want to with doctors being there. And so every step of the way, I was educated on how many centimeters I should be dilated. I educated myself on what was going to happen to me. And so when the doctor came and gave me options, because he is there to help me, not to tell me what I need to do, you know, it was a different dynamic with us. And so I think it's our responsibility to be educated enough to care about our health and try and do preventable things when it comes to your health. Like I take nootropics, I take a lot of natural, you know, supplements, and I study about like L-theanine and things that you can do to help boost your brain and help your health. However, I am fully V'd. My daughter is fully V'd. I have done the research and then have moved forward educated to use science and advance my health with that. I'm not like ignorant to it. I don't think that science is anti-health. I think that's where you have this like colliding ideas. We can care about health and we can be healthy and eat better and not eat as much processed foods, right? And move forward. But science is also there and has helped us live longer. We live longer now because of science. And although I agree to some extent, I think it's to push this idea forward can be a little like contradictory to herself. And I see RFK's history and it tells me exactly that to a certain point, I agree that certain things can be prevented by maybe being healthy. But once you're there, you need science.
Mia, as the nurse on the line, if you had to take the V over again, would you do it? What's your thoughts? And do you think she's going to be good for us?
I guess I want to preface this with I am not against V's in general. I feel like they do have a place. There is a science. We're on third generation, maybe even fourth generation when it comes to taking certain V's. Our great grandparents did, our grandparents did, my parents did, I have, my kids have. There are some that are just, that have historically shown like they do work. You know what I mean? Especially when it comes to herd immunity, and there are just certain people that can't take them. So it helps if the rest of us inoculate against certain things. So like there is science that says it does work. And I respect people that choose not to. I mean, that is your choice, as long as your provider explains to you what happens if you don't take it and what can happen to children. And if you want to go with that risk, I think it's, that's you. Do you, boo-boo. Live free or die. Like it is what it is. However, I would not take the C-19 again. I would refuse. I was forced to, as hundreds of thousands, if not millions of medical professionals we were. And I argue to this day with a lot of people about it online. Essentially, in the state of New York, collectively, a bunch of state workers sued New York, and New York was found liable because they essentially forced people to either take it or lose their job. So when you're holding money and some people's livelihoods and their well-being and their pension and all of them over it, saying, if you don't do this, you're fired, you're done, that's it, like all of it's, and you're getting nothing out of it. They lose their pension, they lost their benefits, they lost all of this, basically is essentially forcing people to do these things. The Board of Nursing essentially forced people, states force people. So, I mean, I would never take it again. I would rather get a new job or find something else to do. I ended up getting an injury from mine that I have to live with to this day. So some of it's no joke. I've taken many V's in my life, and the one time that I got an injury was from this one. Take with that information what you will. I am of average height. My blood work is perfect. And this was the one V that gave me an injury that is now on my medical record. So take with that information what you will.
Enzo, based on what you see, do you think she'll be good? And I mean, it all makes sense why they hated RFK, right? Because he was like going against, thinking back to 2020 and 2021, the whole push with the Dems.
I think it's a little weird on his pushback and his rollback on everything. Just based off the video alone, like you're in your 5th year of medical school and you dropped out after you spent hundreds of thousands of dollars. Why didn't you just finish it? Don't understand that. I don't understand anybody. I mean, because that's like, I'm sorry. I'm going to look at it like this. Like, we're going to have this person as our Surgeon General. And that's going to be like, yeah, it's okay. You can go to medical school and drop out, and hey, you can be the Surgeon General. No, that's not acceptable. No, I don't think she's gonna do good. I don't think she's gonna change the world, as she's sitting there saying. No, bad pick. Nope, just bad all around.
Well, Laura Loomer is the one that got her out. Gray, I know she's your favorite person. What's so and before you answer, the funny part is Laura Loomer trashed this initial pick because of her stance on the V's, because she was pro V at the time. Now we bring this person in and she's trashing this person. Is there any pleasing Laura Loomer, Gray? And should Trump get rid of her? What do you think?
Trump's mistress?
Allegedly,
don't be starting rumors.
He's suing Bill Maher right now on that.
Oh my God!
Allegedly.
Don't be starting rumors. But hey, you heard it here first.
All right. I'm not sure. I mean, like, I don't know why she has so much control over Trump. I think Trump likes loyalty. So, like, with the people, if you're in Trump's circle, it doesn't matter if you're right or you're wrong. If you're loyal to Trump, it seems like he'll ride or die with you. Like, because Trump has surrounded himself with quite a few interesting characters.
Yeah, I mean, everybody, today, what's the guy? The Young Turks tweeted out, when is Trump going to get rid of Laura Loomer, his VP? Because, I mean, apparently she has a lot of influence, but she's a wacky. Anyways, I'm going to play this clip right here. This has to do with Casey Means' health plan. So this is what we can look forward to when she becomes Surgeon General. If she becomes Surgeon General, she might be the one that doesn't make it.
Increasingly an astronomically chronically ill, and it is largely because of our toxic, ultra-processed food system. There are 3 things that we really need to focus on to turn the tide that is destroying American health, and RFK is talking about them. The first is that we have to fix the incentives that are making the unhealthy food toxic, cheap, and affordable for Americans. We need to incentivize healthy foods being the cheapest foods on the shelf. The second thing we need to do is get the conflicts of interest out of the food science and the government agencies that control our food guidelines. And the third is that we need to improve medical education. So those are the 3 things that RFK is talking about that are so important for turning the tides.
And sometimes people say government's the problem. Not here. It would be government could fix it. Now fix the incentives. So I got to get farmers, incentivize them to grow differently?
So right now, Brian, the Farm Bill is a $500 billion bill that's renewed every 5 years. And currently, the vast majority of the spending goes towards supporting farmers to grow commodity crops that are largely turned into ultra-processed cheap food. This is why the cheap food is the unhealthy food, because taxpayers are subsidizing it.
Right.
So we need to incentivize farmers to actually be growing the food that makes us healthy. And right now, that is only 0.1% of the Farm Bill subsidies. The second incentive piece is that a lot of the Farm Bill goes towards food assistance programs like SNAP and WIC. And right now, SNAP, which supports over 10% of the U.S. population, 10% of that budget is going straight to soda, and about 55% is going to ultra-processed foods. So taxpayer money is being incentivized to go straight into the hands of these diabetes water companies and ultra-processed food companies. We could change those incentives rapidly to make each dollar spent on SNAP more effective, more valuable if it goes towards real food that keeps us healthy. And then the third incentive piece is that we need to think about tax advantage dollars like HSA and FSA. Right now, these amazing programs that let us use tax advantage dollars towards health, they're mostly going towards drugs. We could steer those HSA dollars towards preventative tactics like food as medicine and nutrition.
So when Trump says, if I get elected, I'm going to put him in charge, you believe he knows it so well. RFK could do this. Time Magazine pushing back. I mean, look at this headline. I know this got a lot of publicity for your book because it's so ridiculous. What if ultra-processed foods aren't as bad as you think? What would you think about the content of that column and the premise?
This article was laughable. Of course, this article crops up right after our.
Mia, you laughed. What's your thoughts about the question? What made you laugh?
You know what's crazy is it's one of those things where, like, if the Trump administration told people to keep breathing, they would hold their breath. To try to convince people that ultra processed food isn't that bad is ridiculous. Like, there are thousands of studies done, not only in the United States, but and abroad in Europe, in Australia, in China, whenever we're able to see their stuff from their universities, all saying the same thing. Ultra processed food is literally poison in your veins. She may be a quack. However, like a broken clock, sometimes you're right twice a day. She's not wrong. We incentivize terrible food. Over 60% of adults in the United States have chronic issues. Over 30% or up to 30% of children in the United States have chronic issues. 70% of the people between 18 and 30 do not qualify for the military. I'll repeat, 70% of young men in the United States between 18 and 30 do not qualify for the military. They don't qualify because they're sick, not only mentally, but they're sick physically. We have issues here. It is a national security issue to the fact that we have so many chronically ill. And the only thing that's different now, in 1945, over 50% of like our great-grandparents, because my grandparents were born in the 40s. So our great-grandparents actually had a garden across the United States as a whole, collectively. Over 40% of them actually had gardens. And now you know how many have gardens now? Less than 2%. So legitimately, she is not wrong. There is an incentive from the USDA, the FDA, and all of including the EPA, and all of them to work together. Do you know Clarence Thomas, obviously, who's the Supreme Court judge? You know where he used to work? Monsanto. You know who we can't sue? Monsanto. They created Agent Orange, and they also are the biggest manufacturers of pesticides, which leach into the water table that we have here. So a lot of people don't realize how deep this collusion goes, but she is not wrong. This collusion is so deep-seated. We literally have a Supreme Court judge who was a lawyer for the biggest distributor of pesticides in the United States, and they have a monopoly. We can't sue them. And they created Agent Orange. And I'll land my plane with that.
Wow. Gray, what's your thoughts? I mean, do you think ultra processed food are as bad as they say, or do you think it's good to have a balance, or we should just not have it in our diet at all?
Well, I mean, you're definitely not gonna be able to stop people from eating McDonald's. People love the Big Mac. Nextly, when she was talking about EBT or food stamps, people are going to want to get candy and sodas and whatever with that food. It's going to be hard to say, hey, you can no longer have this. It's a lot of like kids, old people that use those services. So, I mean, like, I definitely think processed food is bad. I try to keep a good diet, try not to eat fast food, but it tastes better. And, you know, what you said,
additives they put in it. From all the additives they put in it.
But what you say, live free, die free, whatever you said.
Live free or die, man. You gotta do what you gotta do. Not on the taxpayer's dollar, though. I mean, if you want snacks, you gotta earn a wage for that.
For sure.
Oh man. Well, you bring up a good point, Enzo. Republicans, we believe in being free. We believe in government not controlling us, our body, our choice to some extent, especially when it comes to the V. But he's proposing not to allow people to buy processed food on their EBT. How do you feel about that?
I mean, it's kind of hypocritical because I kind of agree with it. I mean, the processed food is like, in certain ways, it does contribute to a lot of the health problems in America. I think processed food is fucking terrible. So, I mean, if we want to have people living off of government money at the end of the day to buy food, you should be going out and buying like real food at the end of the day. Everybody should be healthy when it comes to the government's dollar instead of buying the equivalent of fucking candy and McDonald's and all that shit. I'm not saying like, you can go to McDonald's and use EBT, but it's the equivalent of what you're buying from the store. Because at the end of the day, it's cheap. That's why people buy it. That's the biggest problem. But I want to see that go through, but at the same time, I kind of don't, just because I don't want to be a hypocrite. And like we said, our body, our choices, live free. So it's just like, it's a hard thing. Like morally, I'm like, yeah, I'm all for it, but at the same time, I'm like, I'm gonna make myself look like an idiot. So
Listen, I like my food. I'm sorry. I hear you guys, but I'm not gonna lie to you. But let me say this. I agree with my thing is though, and that those foods, they do affect you chronically. So ultimately, if they're already on welfare, they're already on, food stamps, what's going to end up happening? They're going to end up on Social Security, and then we're stuck paying for them. And they're going to end up on Medicare, and then we're stuck paying for them for life. So for that reason, I support it because I see the cost of it. But I also support universal health care, and that's another conversation. Skeptic, what's your thoughts? What do you think? Do you think the EBT should be banning? Because that's a good point. What's your point? What's your side on it?
Well, I do agree that there are studies that show that processed foods are bad for you, but I don't think that it's the government's, like the government shouldn't overstep their ability to our freedoms. And at the end of the day, like we have the freedom to choose. And when we talk about people that are on government assistance, a lot of the time they are working jobs. And so they don't have time to maybe go and cook a full course meal. Although I see the argument with wanting to promote them to eat healthier. And I think we could have some kind of incentive instead of just banning them altogether from being able to make a choice that's free for them to make, But I think education, to be honest with you, is the best way. I just think like when it comes to when I was in college, like a lot of us that were doing pre-med, like we all kind of would talk about health. It just kind of, we were very health conscious. And I think that that is the best way to make people make good decisions. Like, why don't we teach them about nootropics? Why don't we teach, people about health? Because even some people that are studying health don't know what foods they should eat that are beneficial to themselves, so and the crazy thing is we can find a lot of foods in nature that help you with even hormonal issues. You can eat, like, men can boost their testosterone by eating pomegranate seeds and pomegranate juice, like cold pressed pomegranate juice. If you drink a fourth of that, you can increase your testosterone percentages by, I want to say it's like 40% in 3 weeks, instead of you having to go and do something that is chemically altering your hormones. Women can do the same with grapefruit and pineapple. So, like, a lot of things we can find in nature, but I think it takes education to even want to get there and make the right decisions. So I wouldn't be for banning anything when it comes to EBT. I would be for us educating people and maybe making them take a class when it comes to eating healthier, so then they can know what foods they should eat and what things they shouldn't eat.
Wow. All right, guys. So the last story of the night is about the Pope. We have I don't know. I don't want to say we. I'm not Catholic. The Catholics have a Pope. That was like a big thing on Twitter today when everyone said we. And I'll explain that after. But here is the new Pope.